welcome to a new review for Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Episode 5, Spock Amok. Gotta say, I love this episode. We take a break from the not necessarily the serious of the show for a while, because if we know from the last episode, the Enterprise was attacked and they are now on on shore leave. So as they do repairs to the Enterprise and get it back up and running, to get back on there. And this episode is, I think, is defined in one word: hijinks, which we hear a lot throughout the episode. There's a lot of hijinks that ensue like throughout the episode. It's really hilarious. And let's go ahead and get into the recap. So we start off and Spock is having a nightmare. And as we know, what we know about Spock, he consistently deals with dealing with his human side and dealing with that growing up and pretty much being teased for it, and me to prove that he's more Vulcan than anybody else, or just prove that he's Vulcan at all. And we see the kind of like the internal struggle and him dealing with that through this nightmare, of him fighting himself, or the human side of himself. And like I said, I kind of thought we were like, man, we're gonna get to a dark episode here, but that's not the case. This is this winds up just kind of being like a setup, obviously, for something that happens later. And like I said, we found out everybody is on shore leave. Shore leave, everybody's gonna do that thing. We got Nurse Chapel about to meet up with a person that she's been dating. We got Spock's fiance, T'Pring. It took me a while to figure out how to, like, am I saying this wrong? But like T'Pring, like I was going to say like Pringles, but like T'Pring is fiance that we see from episode 1. She comes back and we see that she has made the time away from work, because her job is also as important as Spock's is on the Enterprise, but she's made the time away from work to spend time with her fiance that they didn't get to do because he got up and left to join this mission. And like I said, we definitely get to see a lot of everybody's kind of version of what they consider as fun. We see the doctor; he wants to go out and do fly fishing. And he just wants to kind of get away and relax. We see Pike get roped into negotiations with alien race so they can help against this war that they nobody wants to be roped into this Klingon war, this which just ended after like Discovery. But now that we have a new thing, like the Federation is still looking for alliances throughout the universe. They don't want to rope anybody into it, but they don't want to force anybody into it, but they want to give everybody a choice, because there are still a lot of other races that could help them technologically, and of course the numbers and stuff like that. But like jumping back to just kind of to bring in Spock, they want to connect more, so they decide to do a mind meld, which turns this into Freaky Friday, which if anybody's seen that, the two people switch bodies, which was happens here. They switch minds, and they go into each other's bodies and able to get a new perspective of what the other person is going through, throughout their day, and how their work operates and how important it is. And we see to bring be Spock and handle the negotiations. There's no idea how important this is, and what this needs for the Federation to be able to do this. And then Spock is in T'Pring's body, and I'm not sure, she's like a space lawyer or like a I know they say that she's like a like almost like kind of like a corrections officer, or like it's like a corrections officer, and he winds up trying to negotiate that with her. I just thought that you see Una and God, I can't remember her name. I just wrote it down. You see Una and Leon. Yeah, there we go. Leon, they stay behind because they have no idea of like what fun really is, right? Like, and they stay behind on the ship because like, taking care of the ship and making sure everything is good to go while everybody's having fun is their idea of relaxation. And as some of the crew say, Una and them is say they tell them they go where fun goes to die because they are extremely boring. But they find out that the apparently there's like a enterprise bingo, like where everybody's on shore leave, where you do certain things that are breaking the rules. So and they have a checklist of those things that they do, and they wind up catching two crew members who stay behind on the ship. And it's weird because, like I said, I noticed in the episode, like they wind up reprimanding them for doing this, and then they go and do those things themselves, and they make them like do like cleaning duty. So I'm like, what was the point of that? Like, if you were gonna like, do that to them, if you were gonna turn around and do that. But I mean, I get what the episode's trying to do, like show them have like a fun side. But I definitely like these two characters' relationship with each other. After we had that previous virus episode, I like how their relationship has grown since then. Definitely been appreciating that. And they've just been fun. I mean, like I said, it's a really fun episode. And seeing them go through the checklist of bingo and seeing Una stun Leon with a phaser in her arm and see how much that actually hurts at the lowest setting, no less, which is hilarious. Um, but like I said, we definitely don't get a lot of everybody. Like, it's not too big of a thing going on because, like I said, everybody's in negotiations. In the negotiation room, we have Yahora in the room, with with Pike and Spock, and they're trying to go negotiate new allies. They do eventually do that by finding out that this race of aliens emulates the energy of the room of the person that they're talking to. So Pike, of course, figures out that pretty much emulate how they are, and see that they're gonna try to emulate whatever the race of the people that they're around, and try to if you're angry, they're gonna be angry. If you're passive, they're gonna be passive. But he eventually figures it out, and they wind up gaining an ally. Spock and Soprano eventually wind up switching back through the power of science, because Vulcan mind melding is essentially magic, as they say. But they don't want to touch the magic word, right? In this show with science, so they don't want to touch the magic word, even though a lot of what this is, like some of the stuff in the show, was completely ridiculous and could be related to magic. But I definitely like the relationship between T'Pring and Spock. Even though you don't really get to see a lot of her in that OG series, and if you probably thinking in your head, like if you only watch the movies, like the movies are, of course, an alternate timeline of the original series. So a lot of that stuff changed. Spock and Uhura wound up hooking up, and probably people probably like, yeah, when is that going to happen? It's probably not going to happen because Spock does eventually stay on that course of the continuity, so it's probably not going to change. But overall, I mean, I really love this episode. It's definitely something that I would want to watch again. Again, you hear the word hijinks through the episode. As T'Pring says, she doesn't like hijinks. Hey, Vulcans just don't like hijinks in general. But I thought it was a fun episode. Like I said, this is definitely another, like I say, every week, every reason to watch. Get Paramount for these Star Trek shows. They're doing an amazing job. I love the cast, and this is a really good way to show some of the chemistry with the cast, outside of the disaster moments of the show. Like I said, I think they do a really good job, and seeing Una and Leon work together, and T'Pring and Spock kind of come together and work out their differences to make that relationship work, so that they eventually can get married. But like I said, this episode 5, Spock Amok, really good episode. Check it out. It's out now. And I'll see you guys for episode 6. See you.